Oh, all right. Looks like we're live. Sorry, I didn't hear you come in. Pardon me. What's up, everybody? Daniel Barrett here from AdWords Nerds. As always, if you want someone to help you with your online marketing for motivated sellers, that's us. Go to motivatedsellerleads.com. That's all we do. We will be happy to help you for free build an online marketing strategy specifically for your market at motivatedsellerleads.com. And you feel free to take it, use it on your own, or work with us to implement it for you, whatever floats your boat. Today, we're talking about anxiety and panic, and we're talking about one less tool in the toolbox. And I want to bring this up because I just got finished recording a podcast. So you probably know I have the REI Marketing Nerds podcast. It's a podcast, same name as this Facebook group, REI Marketing Nerds. And you can go to reimarketingnerds.com and find all the podcast episodes there. Or you can subscribe on Apple and Spotify and whatever, wherever fine podcasts are sold. Okay. So I was just finished recording a podcast. You watch for in the next couple of weeks where I break down in depth the upcoming changes to Google Ads housing policy. And you can probably actually find posts from me in our Facebook group about this. It's not the first time I've ever talked about it, but the podcast is, it's a good half hour long. I go in depth into the history, the social context of why these changes are happening, what we saw happen in Facebook. Very similarly, I really deal with it in detail. So if you want to get that episode, I highly recommend you go subscribe now to the REI Marketing Nerds podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. But I want to just talk about something I left out of the podcast, which I think is important, which is the fact that online marketing as a channel is in constant flux. It is in constant flux. It is always changing. There's always something going on. Now, the fact of the matter is the vast majority of these changes never reach the ears of the average real estate investor. Right? If you follow me at all, you actually probably hear about significantly more of them than the average investor does. And that's because, honestly, most changes to online platforms don't change very much, right? You change a targeting option, you change a marketing thing, you change the way something's priced, you change the volume that goes to a certain place, you change the way that a certain platform delivers things to people, whatever it is. But it doesn't usually change a whole lot about how sellers interact with investors and how many motivated seller leads are going to come into your CRM every week. It really doesn't. There are a few that have had massive impacts. So looking back in the past, right? The loss of the right-hand column of ads in Google. That ended up being a massive, massive change in how leads are acquired for an investor and the average cost per lead in Google for an investor, right? These are important things. The addition of the Google Maps pack to the search engine results. Massive, massive impact on how leads are acquired for real estate investors. But there have been any number of algorithm changes, Facebook platform changes, yada, 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 changes to YouTube, changes to everything. There have been any number of them, dozens of them, hundreds of them, maybe, over that exact same time period that you've never heard of and you're never going to you're never going to hear of, and you don't care about. Because they changed some tiny technical thing somewhere that changed something for someone and just didn't affect you. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. Okay. But what ends up happening is that there is money to be made off of real estate investors like you when a certain amount of anxiety can be evoked. Okay. I can make money off you by ramping up your fear, your anxiety, you're feeling that you're being attacked. If I can really connect with that and I can really dial that up, I can make you more likely to give me money. I can. Now, you don't see me do it unless I think it's warranted. I do it very rarely. For example, I have been banging the drum about the distorting impact of iBuyers on the business model of mom and pop real estate investors. And I will continue to talk about that because that is a far more disruptive presence than most investors realize, and I think an existential one. Okay, so I am going to talk about anxiety and fear, and I am going to bring that up because I need you to take action to counter that threat. Doesn't need to be giving me money. It could just be working on your website or developing an ad strategy or whatever it is. Could be anything. You don't have to give me anything, but I want you to be thinking about it, right? But taking a step back from issues like that, the vast majority of these kind of changes online, they don't mean a whole lot. The upcoming Google Ads policy changes to housing, they seem like a big deal. They're probably not going to be. I mean, I don't know. Things could change. I could be wrong. I'm wrong all the time, right? Anybody who says they're not wrong all the time is full of it, especially in this industry. But it's probably not going to be a big deal because most of these changes are not a big deal. But I would be very careful, very aware of when you see these kind of upcoming changes as really being promoted as destructive and disruptive and something you got to be worried about. The thing I always think when I see that is, okay, where's the hook? Where's the catch? Where's the line where you say, I can make the anxiety go away. All you got to do is give me money. I try to be aware of that. And I want you to be aware of that too. Because look, I'm a marketer. I believe in marketing. Marketing is absolutely powerful. Real estate investing is basically just a marketing business with a real estate backend. That's all it is. Marketing is the lifeblood of all business. It is the most critical activity. Marketing and innovation, that's it. But marketers, as my friend Patty DeLessio says, ruin everything. And I want you to know when you're being marketed to so that you can make rational decisions. I hope, for example, your decision to invest, not with me, but just like in your SEO, in your PPC, in your brand, in your local reputation, I want you to make a rational decision to do those things because I think there is a rational argument to do it. The truth is, no matter how logically sound the argument is, a lot of people won't make that decision unless you put a little emotion into it. That's why marketing is important. If we want to convince people, we have to meet them where they're at. We have to meet them at the level of desire that they have. And there's nothing wrong with using emotion to shore up a logically sound argument. Nothing wrong with it. What I want you to be careful of is everyone who comes to you saying the sky is falling because Google is changing XYZ or Facebook's going to do XYZ or whatever, Trump's going to ban TikTok or whatever. Every time someone says the sky is falling, you got to realize that under all that anxiety, under all that fear, under all those emotions, a lot of time, there's just nothing else. There's no logic. There's no reason. It's just hollow. I hope that makes sense. I hope it's useful to you. As always, if you are ever looking for someone to help you with your search engine optimization, getting you organically ranked in Google, you want someone to help you with your Facebook ads, you want someone to help you with your Google ads, that is all we do all day, every day. Find motivated seller leads online for real estate investors, and you can connect with our team at motivatedsellerleads.com. This is Daniel Barrett signing off. Cheers, everybody. Have a good day.